Hello and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles, as always. On this week's podcast, I'm joined by regular guests, Eamon Donnelly and John Melia, to review our 1-0 draw away to Fulham at Craven Cottage yesterday. And remember to check out the River Bar in Dublin City Centre, the official supporters bar of the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club. So sit back and enjoy the show. As I said in my intro, I'm joined by my regular guests and Arsenal season ticket holders. John Meany, first of all, how are you, pal?
Eamon and Johnny, good to be back.
It's great to have you back. He's making some appearances now before the end of the season. He's usually not used to this.
Yeah, you're dragging me out of my comfort zone, yeah.
He's looking fresh face as always. I'm also joined by Eamon, where's the duck, Donnelly? Where are we having tonight, pal?
I want a bit of lamb there. Even Jonathan, even John. I went to the doctor and said, I feel like a wigwam in a teepee. He said, you're too tense. I used to sell furniture for a living there. Problem was, it was my own. And well, okay. We survived the storm. Only half my back garden disappeared. But other than that, all good. Actually, it was a bit of fencing. I don't know. It was like the Wizard of Oz or something. It was part of me fencing. And it ended up stacked over it, so beside the far wall, as if somebody had moved it neatly. It must have flown through the air, you know? Yeah.
Thanks very much, Darren, for stacking that neatly for Eamon. Something for him to do as the week goes on. Great to have you back on, lads, as always. And of course, the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel is where you can catch this show and all our other shows. 117 now. This is our 117th podcast now, so we're going strength to strength. Of course, to yesterday's match, 1-1 against Fulham, of course. Raúl Jimenez, after 11 minutes, got to go for Fulham, and on 52 minutes, William Saliba got his second in a week. Another set piece goal for us again. To match stats to start off, possession wise, we had 67% to Fulham's 33. 12 shots for ourselves to Fulham's 2, 4 on targets. Fulham had 2, and touches in the box, we had 34. And Fulham had 3. So that shows where the match went. And quite unlucky, I think, in my opinion, not to win it. I think we've done enough in the second half to definitely get at least 2 or 3 goals in that half. It was our 15th goal from a corner in the Premier League in 2024. So we're going from strength to strength up on 2023. We had 3 ex-Gooners playing yesterday against us. Bernd Leno made a few fine saves for Fulham. He's gone from strength to strength this season under Marco Silva. Alex Iwobi and Emile Smith-Rowe also played yesterday against us. They had decent games themselves. And after 3 minutes, we were quite lucky not to score. Saliba glances header just wide from Declan Rice's corner. I thought Declan Rice's delivery from corners yesterday was immense, and it was just waiting on people to get on the end of them. Gabriel was a big loss, I think, from corner kicks yesterday, but sadly injuries again are doing us our Achilles heel. After 11 minutes, of course, Fulham scored. Tete's ball down the left wing took out Jacob Kivior, and also William Saliba. You could say probably just too much of a gap between the two of them. I was quite surprised with Raúl Jimenez. He quite pacey, and he's some amount of pace. And I think it was just a perfectly weighted ball from Tete. And, it was just one of those perfect strikes from Jimenez. I don't think Raya had a chance. It was just one of those strikes. He was just buried in his right-hand corner. And I don't think he was at fault, really, Raya. I don't think really Kivior has the turn of pace to get back at striker. Sorry, I thought Jimenez kind of gave him an half a game yesterday, and Gabriel was really missed alongside Saliba. I think on 40 minutes then, Saka's cross was nearly missed by a diving foot of Declan Rice. It's quite unlucky not to score. It was kind of a match really in both halves that there wasn't many chances, but the chances that were created, we should have really been putting away. As I was talking to Eamon yesterday during the match, and I do agree with him. When I look back on it again, Saka did give Anthony Robinson a horrid time down the wing, and some of Saka's balls into the box were just waiting to be buried as well, just no one on the end of them. Of course, 52 minutes was the equaliser for ourselves. Brilliant delivery from Declan Rice. Havertz at the back post. His header was met by Saliba, who tapped it in. Chris Sutton kept going on that Kai Havertz should have buried that header. He got a good connection on it, and it led to a goal. So no complaints there. 69 minutes then, another perfect corner from Declan Rice, met by the head of Thomas Partey, who was unmarked in the box, and he had a wide somehow, and that was such a miss. It would have been, if we had scored that goal at that time, I think there would be no way back for Fulham. Fulham were getting tired at that stage, they were getting leggy, and it was, it's just nine times out of 10 he normally buries that, or if that was Gabriel, that would have been in the back of the net. David Ray made a save in the 72nd minute from Andreas Pereira at his near post, but Fulham, aside from the goal, they really had no other chances really of note. And then obviously in the 89 minutes, that ball in from Martinelli, Saka, perfect header at the far post, and then VAR again be the death of us. And he was, when you look back on it, he was offside, Martinelli, but he shouldn't be in those. He should be a bit more smarter. And just finally, they thought that Traore done a great man marking job on William Saliba from corners, and in some circumstances there could have been a penalty or two. He was dragging out of him definitely at the back post in the first half. Could have went to VAR. I suppose if that was ourselves, it probably would have been given against us as usual. But 1-1, I'll take the point. Fulham are in a good position themselves. They're 5th or 6th now, I think. It's 3 games we haven't beaten them now. The kind of our bogey team now. I'll come to yourself, John. First of all, your take on yesterday's game?
Wow, where to begin after all that?
It's not to cover.
Look, again, I when I come onto this podcast, I've been stressing the importance of our fullbacks, and I think once again, the fact that we can't put out our fullbacks has cost us. Timber on the left, he's fine defensively. Going forward, he's not as effective as he is on the right. And unfortunately, Thomas Partey taking out midfield. Again, he's done a fine job at right back, but he doesn't give an overlap to Saka. He doesn't give that option. I think that's something we definitely missed. Give Fulham some credit. They were well drilled. They defended well. They kept it tight, and they looked to catch us on the break, and that's how they got that goal. And it was Timber cut forward because we were pressing high. We pressed high brilliantly throughout the match. But it was a great break. KVR lost Jimenez. Jimenez ducked in behind him. The pass was brilliant. I think Saliba should have reacted quicker himself. I know KVR got a lot of stick. I think he played part of the goal. I think he had a fine game. I think Saliba could have reacted quicker, but you can't take it away. The pass was superb. Jimenez didn't have to break stride, touch into the box, and he drilled. He drilled it low and hard. Can't take it away from Ray either. So it's a good goal, good finish. We can point out our own deficiencies, losing the ball like that, and maybe we could have dealt with it better, but it's a goal. We're 1-0 down. We huffed and puffed a lot. Now, I have to be honest, the press was really good. We kept them pinned into their half. They couldn't get out, but we weren't creating a hell of a lot. Apart from the set pieces, there was one ball over the top for Rice when he was breaking through the midfield. I don't know whether he would have had time. I haven't seen it back. I don't know whether he maybe would have had a chance to take it down and take a step. But his shot wasn't that far away now. But the first half, it's just a lot of hook and puff, just not enough goal. And I think the second half was a lot like that as well. I know we had chances from set pieces. You criticised a little bit Martinelli. Maybe he should have been more aware. I'm going to criticise Timber because I think he could have released the ball just a fraction earlier. I think Martinelli was ready to run and he had to hold. I mean, he's only like that much offside. It's not like 80 yards away. You can tell you're more offside by that much, So give him a little bit, take it easy on him. But I think Timber could release the ball just a little bit earlier. and he would have been onside. It was very fine margins as when it came to the corners. They defended better than United. Let's be brutally honest, but we still put the willies up them. We still could have had a couple of goals. I mean, the party's header. I mean, I was halfway out with a chair ready to celebrate when he got that header.
Yeah,
that was a big one for me. And then there was a chip over the top for Jesus, who
he should have really went in on it, shouldn't he?
Well, I don't know whether he lost the ball coming over his head. Because I was very surprised at his reaction. I mean,
do you think that's a confidence thing as well, John?
I think it is a confidence thing. I know a lot of people saying he pulled out of it. I think he just lost it when it came over his head because it was a superb ball. He timed his run brilliantly.
Perfectly, yeah.
I'm giving him a bit of credit here. Just I think he might have lost it when it came over his head because again, that's a big chance in a game with very few chances. You're hoping someone will get on the end of that. Yeah, I don't want to be too critical of the team because they did 95% of everything they do brilliantly. They controlled the game. They suffocated Fulham. Fulham couldn't get out of their own hand. Yeah. Apart from the one goal, and it was a good goal. Substitutions. Could he have come on a little bit earlier? I think Ranieri probably could have come on earlier, but Odegaard, he got knocked earlier on in the game. I would have liked to seen him coming off 10, 15 minutes earlier. We know what it's like to what we've done. We pushed him too hard before. Trossard wasn't great, but I thought he was only coming into the game when Martinelli scored.
Yeah,
exactly. And again, going back to the fullback thing, he had Tierney on the bench. I know Tierney hasn't played in 6 months. I know he's a player that he's ready to let go from Arsenal. But if you played him at left back and Tierney at right back, at least you've got 2 orthodox fullbacks in their favourite positions there. Even if Tierney only lasts an hour, that hour could have been enough. We'll never know. I'm hoping Tierney gets a game in the League Cup. If for nothing else, because we need our fullbacks. I'm so convinced of this. We need our fullbacks, and it's crazy. We have 4 of the best fullbacks of any squad in Europe, and there's only one of them fit at the moment. And he's playing on the other side, on the wrong side.
Yeah.
So it's an issue. It's something we're going to have to live with. We played a lot worse. Let's be honest. When we went to Fulham there last year, we were absolutely atrocious. This wasn't that. This is a game we probably deserve to win it, but you're not creating enough chances. It's one of them days at the office. I don't think the weather helped much either. It looked like a miserable day down beside the River Thames. To be honest, miserable day. It's one of them, as you said, you got to take it on the head. It could have been worse.
Yeah.
But we got the draw. Fine margins. Another week we would have won that 3 or 4. So.
What was your take, just before I come on to Eamon, what was your take on Martin Odegaard's game yesterday? It looked like, as you said to us there earlier, it looked like he was still carrying a bit of a knock. Sandra
I mean, he was fouled pretty early on, and I thought... Yeah. And I knocked him out. He stood a little bit, and I thought he was labouring, especially early in the second half. I think I was calling for him to come off like 10, 15 minutes earlier than that. I think the knock did affect him. I would have liked to see Ranieri get a little bit more to him. Now, I don't think he did a lot when he did come on, but an extra few 10, 15 minutes wouldn't have done him any harm. And I think I would have taken Odegaard out of the borderline as well, because we need to be careful with him.
Yeah, and with Liverpool... With the Merseyside derby being called off due to Storm Dara on Saturday morning, do you think not winning yesterday, do you think that's a bit, do you think we had to win yesterday just to keep that pressure? Do you still think it's early days yet, John?
Like that's only a third of the way through the season. It feels like that.
Yeah.
And I think, but it only feels like that. I mean, Liverpool had to squeeze this game into a very busy schedule.
Yeah.
Where are they going to fit it in? I mean, if they do as well in Europe as they think they're going to do, they're going to be chasing the league title. How far are they going to go in the FA Cup? Where are they going to fit this game in? They could end up losing that game. Fingers crossed. Let's be honest.
I think it's early January.
It deserves the later date. To be honest, it deserves the later.
It does. Yeah.
But you don't know where that's going to fit the schedule.
Yeah.
At the moment, it feels like shit.
Yeah.
We've got 2 serious points. And, you know, it'll probably feel like that for a while.
Yeah, some of the papers were saying Fulham are becoming our new bogey team, but I just think it's us not taking our chances yesterday, really, you know, hand on heart. To yourself, Eamon, you've been waiting a while there. What was your take on the 1-1 draw, Craven Cottage yesterday?
Well, John hit so many of the targets that I was going to hit, because I feel pretty similar about the thing. First of all, the result was far worse than the performance. The result was far worse than the performance. In fact, we totally dominated the game in their place. And remember, they had 19 points going into yesterday. They're no mugs, right? We totally dominated the game in their place. But it was a bit like Inter Milan away in the second half. We had them penned back, but we couldn't really work our way through them. And the best opportunities that we fashioned were from set pieces. But I'll come back to that in a second. Just for the opening goal. Kivior has taken a lot of stick, right? Yeah. But I put him more on Saliba than Kivior, because if you look at it again, right, Kivior has come out to stand on Jimenez, and Jimenez does this very clever thing where he goes inside him. Now, where I blame Kivior is, if your body shape is perfect, like Gabriel's is most of the time, if he moves to go outside you, it's a small adjustment. If he moves to go inside you, it's a little block without fouling. But it's just enough, right? He got inside him too easy. But from there, where Saliba is, in my view, he has enough time to get across and do it. But I think he was probably worried about Jimenez maybe cutting back inside him. But then Jimenez went on his left peg.
Yeah.
I think Saliba would have been better off charging towards Jimenez, not making a tackle, making him go inside, and I think the chance would have been lost. So I'm critical of Saliba there, right? But look, they're defenders and they're faced against attackers. That's what football is. Decisions are made in snap time. So when I say I'm critical of Saliba, I wouldn't be saying that was really bad defender, but it's just one of those things that you can't put all of that in Kivior, right? But the other thing is that Jimenez took the chance. Look, I'm looking at it with my naked eye. He took it really early.
Yeah.
Really, really earlier than I expected him to hit it.
Yeah.
I expected him to take another touch in real time.
Yeah.
And when he hit it early, my split-second sonic radar said kind of, geez, he's taking that early. And then that's why Raya couldn't get down in time.
Yeah.
So the brilliant finish. I felt we were going to come back into the game. We did. But I sensed something on the thread at half-time. And I think John kind of covered a lot of this ground, right? Not having Yuri and Timber playing at right full back is a triple whammy. It's a triple whammy. Yuri and Timber and Ben White are brilliant at connecting Odegaard and Saka. And that triangle. And when teams have a low block, the way we play in that triangle is the key to unlocking that. So when Timber is not playing at right full or Ben White, we don't have that. So there's whammy number one. Whammy number two is we take our most informed central midfielder out and have to put him there. And I don't criticise Arteta for that. He had no choice yesterday. Well, I'm going to go there in a second. He probably, yeah. But on the face of it, in his mind, you know, he puts Thomas Partey back there. We have enough in mid. We've more depth in midfield to cover Thomas Partey than we have at full back in his mind, right? So, but what that does is it takes our most informed midfielder out of the middle of the park, right? And then the third whammy is Timber on the left is not as good as Timber on the right. Now, he's a fine player. He does all that. But if you look at his body shape, his first touch for control is off his right foot. So therefore, anytime the ball is coming to him to try and move that, do that quick play, he's controlling the ball with his right leg. Even though we can play with both legs, he's controlling the ball with his right leg. That means it slows things down. and it changes the angle. So from that point of view, I'd have preferred to say, now I know John mentioned Kieran Tierney. I think after all of the absences and that he's had, that might have been a risk. But if you're going to have Ethan and Monieri on the bench, and you're going to have Miles Lewis-Skelly on the bench, Miles Lewis-Skelly can play left full back. And I think we had enough about us yesterday, the way we approached the game and the way we bossed Fulham around, to be able to have Timber at right full and Miles Lewis-Skelly at left full, or even Kieran Tierney. You know, I think we had enough about us in the way we approached the game to be able to do that, and we didn't. So that was a bit of a regret. You're right about Martin Odegaard. After that knock, he wasn't the same player. But I said on the show last week, Odegaard and Saka, they don't come as a two. They need a third leg, and that third leg is Timber or Havertz. It's actually four. There's so many things that can happen. But that we couldn't get Havertz into the game yesterday, because the block was so low. And look, it's difficult. It's difficult to just say, "Oh yeah, we're not creative enough." Fulham defended their own box. That's very difficult. And what John said, the weather didn't help. Well, you won't believe how much a factor that is. That pitch was very wet yesterday, and what it means is that the ball just takes a little bit longer to get out to where it needs to get to. We could have played those you can't hoof the ball over a long block.
Yeah.
You can't hoof it. So you got to play a way through it. And the best way to play a way through that is snap, snap, snap. So A, when you don't have the best players in the right position to do that, that's one problem. And B, if the pitch is really wet because of a storm, it's a different problem. So the game, I felt, was always going to be won on a set piece. Declan Rice's deliveries, if you look, fantastic. And then they went haywire. I think actually what happened was the wind got up and up and up. He hit two.
Yeah, they went up near the corner.
He did not expect them to overcarry the way they did, because he's trying to grapple with the elements and all of that type of stuff. But look, if Thomas Partey heads that goal in, we're all going, that was a great performance. That was a great result. We really showed our mettle. We dominated the game. There wasn't much in the way of chances. They defended and parked the bus. We found a way through it, and isn't life wonderful?
Yeah.
That's what we would have been saying. And then you get on to the Martinelli bit. John covered it so well. But really astute point, John. If the ball had come a fraction earlier, because if you're standing where Martinelli's standing, you're still trying to give the defender who's passing you the ball an option.
Yeah.
He can go in front of me or go behind me. So do I turn towards him and show as a shield and play it back inside to him? Or am I kind of looking down the line to see? And once you make that decision, I think he's going to go long. Then the ball has to arrive. And we are talking about, Olympic sprint, photo finish time in terms of, that's how close it was. And it's easy for us to look at lines and say, he should have stayed onside. He's also relying on his own naked eye at the speed of movement, But I think the point that Chris Sutton was making yesterday, who never gives us any praise, by the way, but you've said that it was a bit lazy by Martinelli, but I don't agree with that. I think he has to make a decision. He's going to show towards the ball. He's going to show away. Once you make a decision, you're going to show away. You're nearly gone, and your body will move that way. And when you draw an offside line, you're gone. Gone. But I mean, I wasn't particularly pleased with Martinelli's performance yesterday, because I think what he did for the goal, I think he should have done a lot more of. I think he needed to be yesterday, I'm going to go down the line and have a flake at these guys, or I'm going to get inside and cross it. We were never going to play our way through. But what he did for the goal was incredible. The ball he put to Saka, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Then, But look,
sorry, Eamon, as well. That happened in the 89th minute, I think, that chance for 2-1. The awareness of Bukayo Saka, that's late stage in the game. He's so alert, to sneak in at the back. I thought, it really deserved to stand. You know, like it was just a perfectly timed header. Yeah.
But they keep saying it every week. Bukayo Saka is a worldie, and you see, I was explaining life as Martinelli says on the left. On the right hand side, Saka doesn't see it that way because he can play it any way, any time. But Martinelli's not as good as Saka. Nobody is.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah. I just think that, you know, and I don't think it's fatal in terms of the league. And I don't want to get into, you know, all that. Like, points would be bloody hard won at Fulham, I can tell you. Right?
Yeah.
And we've had 4 good wins. But again, I think the team was patched up. You know, and when we play with a patched up team, we're much less effective. Just looking at your comments about the ex-Arsenal players, Leno was good and solid. I like him. I always liked him. I thought his attitude was great.
I thought he's evolved.
I wasn't put in the ship. I thought Emile Smith-Rowe was invisible, to be honest with you. He was invisible.
He wasn't involved in the game. No.
He was invisible, you know.
I have to say, the applause he got from the Arsenal fans was really nice to see.
No, I love it. I love the lad. I'm not kind of saying, there, I told you so. But what I'm saying is that we knew how to work him out. He was invisible.
I was just going to say that we snuffed him out. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. What did you make, actually, as I said to John earlier, as asked a question to John, what did you make of the games of, I thought Kai Havertz had a very quiet game yesterday, and Martin Odegaard, how did you find their performances, Eamon?
Yeah, well, I think, you see, Kai Havertz will have a quiet game if there's a low block, a wet pitch, we don't have a right combination, and we don't get the ball into the channels he runs in.
Yeah.
Right? And Martin Odegaard, I thought, started the game very well. But I think after he got that knock, he
felt twinge there.
He felt the twinge on the ankle, and I just think he wasn't moving as well. I think John is right. I think we probably knew after Martin we were still going to pen them in. Let's get it. And when you're early on, it's a blustery all day. He might break a line or break a tackle.
Yeah.
And just one last thing on the Gabriel Jesus. I normally kind of spend a lot of time agreeing with a lot of the comments Arsblog makes, but Arsblog says he chickened out. He did not. John is absolutely right. He lost it. He lost the flight of the ball. He's thinking it's coming. And don't forget, there's a big breeze out there. You know, it's not like PlayStation. There's no breeze on PlayStation, you know. But there's a big breeze out there. And I'd say it swirled a small bit and he lost the flight of it. And then I'd say he went to himself after that. Jesus, I should have gone for that. I didn't think it was going to hold up the way it did, you know. Yeah.
You think hand on heart as well, lads. I might as well throw it out to the twoies. Do you still think there's a place? You know, do you still think Gabriel Jesus has a career still at Earth? You know, do you still think he can still have a big impact? You know, or do you think that, you know, that chronic kind of like that knee injury? You know, do you think it's 50-50 for him at Arsenal, John?
No, I think if they could get a buyer, I think they'd take it.
You think so? Yeah.
I think at this stage, he's not producing when he's getting the chances. I'm nearly of the opinion I don't think Arteta trusts him the way he did. Now, that's unfortunate that knee injury happened at a time when we loved him. Let's be honest. We said it at the time. I remember doing the interview at the time. The right striker turns air attack into something special, and he did that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we only got it like for 3 or 4 months, and then he went to that World Cup, and he hasn't been the same player since. He's never been able to get that fitness right. He's never been able to get a run in the team. I don't know if that's what it needs, but he's not going to get 8 or 9 games in a row to get where he wants to be. He needs to show it from the bench. He needs to show it in the League Cup matches when he gets a chance. And I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I think at this stage it might be best all round for the player as well. Maybe if he had a fresh start somewhere else, and that's unfortunate. That really is unfortunate because he was dynamite when we first got him. But Arteta has a ruthless streak to him. The best managers do have a ruthless streak to them, and I'd be surprised if he's not looking already. Yeah, we need to upgrade this. It's just not working.
He's kind of gone like Eamon. he's kind of gone like what Lacazette kind of went near the end.
No.
And then when he moved to Lyon, he found that goal scorer. Sometimes it can take a move for a player to rediscover himself.
Lacazette was great for us, and he played at some bad teams, and it's easier to score for Lyon.
But that's true as well.
But just back on Jesus, I think he's a busted flush. And the reason why I think he's a busted flush is because he's lost something from the injury. He hasn't got as quick a turn as he had, and he hasn't got as quick a 2-yard dash as he had. So if you're him, you've lost 20% of what you had, right? I think that injury was much worse.
Yeah, probably was, yeah.
It wouldn't have taken us 3 or 4 months to get him back where we were in the league at that time if that injury wasn't as bad as it was, right? And I think I don't necessarily think it's a confidence issue. I mean, I got back. Here's something that will provoke a few thoughts. We sold David Rocastle. David Rocastle. Why in the name of God would we sell David Rocastle? Because he came back from a knee injury and he wasn't the same player. He didn't have the same things. And we cashed in on him, right? Okay. And I think, unfortunately, Gabriel Jesus, who did add so much optimism and product, he was a menace when he came first. I don't think he has that about him anymore. But when Arsblog, who I don't normally call out, says he chickened out with that challenge, the one thing he's not is a chicken. Like, he's a brave player. And the reason why he's got injured over the years is because he is bloody brave, you know? So I'm not having that Arsblog. Sorry, mate, you're gonna have to think again on that one. But look, I'd be highly surprised if we weren't lining something up now at this stage.
Yeah, it's sad for them as well, you know. But I think when you get a really bad knee injury, you know,
I think he could start against Monaco and run amok. Yeah. You know, I'd love to think he could start against Monaco and run amok, and all of a sudden the guy really. But I just don't see it. You know.
Yeah, he's not really an impactful. You know, he's not.
He only had 8 touches of the ball yesterday, right? And only 1 successful completion in passes.
It says it all, doesn't it? Yeah. It could be. Do you think yesterday's game as well? You know, from probably, you know, do you think Raheem Sterling could have been used, John? You know, do you think that was the type of game where he could have done? I don't think he really trusts.
He's not going to come in a situation like that. He's not coming off Saka.
Yeah,
and Martinelli was always going to come on ahead of him on the left hand side. So I just didn't see. Didn't see it as a game for Sterling. I just didn't see it.
Yeah,
I just didn't.
Look,
as I said, I think
Sterling, John and Jonathan, Raheem Sterling was procured as backup to Saka, and that means that if we really needed to rest Saka or Saka got injured, Raheem Sterling was the backup, right? Now, in a game like yesterday, are you seriously going to take Saka off? No, you're not. That's why Raheem Sterling didn't come on.
Yeah.
Everybody in that game yesterday was saying, if there's one guy who can crack this nut, it's Saka. And he did. Except for and had that goal accounted, we'd have been all saying that was a great performance by the Arsenal. They dominated from start to finish. There wasn't much change there, but we found a way, and everything's good. And that's why I say the performance was way better than the result. You know,
it was the second half in particular. Yeah, just briefly as well, Eamon, as I asked John earlier on, what do you think of the manhandling of Adama Traore on William Saliba and corner kicks? Do you think that was just, you know, just being worked out? Or?
I think Chris Kavanagh should have gone to him early doors and said, it took him a long time. He should have said, look, I don't mind, do what you do, but it's not WWF. I'm going to have to give a penalty if you know.
This keeps up.
That would have been enough. But I mean, apart from that, I mean, Adama Traore, I was thinking about where he was going to play. because didn't they have Reece Nelson playing recently? He couldn't play.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking if he's on the left, just before I knew Zinchenko was cropped, he might have a run at him. But they stuck him. They stuck him. They stuck him over on the left hand side. If he's on the right, on our left, they stuck him over the other side, and he was terrible. He was absolutely terrible. You know, I was thinking they're going to put him over there, and they know Thomas Partey's playing for us. They probably switch sides with him and Iwobi. They probably want him to run apart. He didn't get a kick at the ball. He was terrible.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's probably worse game. You know, because he doesn't know what he's going to do himself when he gets the ball. He's just a tank. Yeah. It's a result that leaves us 6 points off now. Liverpool. Of course, they've got that game in hand against Everton when it's rescheduled. But you'd expect a big performance from Everton, being the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. So you don't know what way that will work out. And we're just Chelsea are above us with 31 points. They've really, to be honest, surprised me this season under Maresca. I thought it'd be a bit of a mess again, but he seems to have kind of sorted out and starting 11 there. You know, the way they came back against Spurs yesterday. You think it'd even surprise Pascal? You look clueless, yes. You know, Cole Palmer is some player. Do you think yourself, lads? Do you think Chelsea could be staying up there for a title fight, or do you think it's probably a bit early? They're a young side, aren't they? It's what do you think yourself, John?
Can I take this one? Couple of seasons ago, when our first time we finished second, everyone expected us to fall away. No one expected us to challenge City as long as we did.
True, yeah.
The quality's there in the squad. Let's be honest. They spent enough money over the last 2 years. They have that. Again, if they get lucky, no injuries, no suspensions, there's no reason why they shouldn't be up there for a long, long time. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Time will tell. Let's be honest. Because a couple of years ago, people were asking the same questions about us. So at the moment, they're in it, and they're in it until they're not. Let's be honest. That's just the way it is. They're getting the max out of Palmer. You know, he is contributing to goals. I don't think he's as good as people think he is. I mean, when we played against us, he very quickly dealt with him. Yeah. But there's another 18 teams in the league that he's going to do some serious damage. There's a lot of quality in that squad. The coach has them playing some decent football. And it was always going to be a case of this new manager, does he know what he's doing? And in the summer, he done an interview. Chelsea were getting ridiculed left, right, and centre over the transfer policy and the size of the squad. And he basically told them, he put the press in the place. I am not coaching 45 players. I am coaching 22. The rest can start looking for new clubs. I picked my 22. That made me think this guy is meaning business. He knows what he's doing. As I said, they've had a good start to the season. And I don't think they're playing as much. I mean, let's be honest, they're in the Conference League. I don't think they particularly cared about the Conference League.
No,
I mean, the reserves is good enough to get them deep into that competition. But right now, they can afford to rest our big name players in Europe.
Yeah.
So they've got that advantage over us. So I see them finishing top four. How high up I know.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say about them is, and this is when they're playing well, they're too easy to score against.
The defense is not.
Yeah, that Robert Sanchez. Something about him. Yeah,
nothing about him. They're too easy to score against because they're a bit naive.
Yeah,
like they dominated Liverpool up in Anfield, and Liverpool won the game 2-1. You know,
they're a young squad, very young squad, aren't they?
Yeah. But I can
say I always say about this squad, John, our 07-08 squad. You know, they're very like that. You know,
true. That was a young squad, wasn't it? Yeah, anyway. Monaco coming up now for ourselves on Wednesday in the Champions League, match day 6, I think we're on now, and he expects us to put Monaco away, but they're second in League On in France, so they're going well under I think it's Rudy Hutter, his name is. I don't know if I think Bannigan is injured, I think, at the moment, so I don't know whether he'll be playing on Wednesday, but you have to respect the opposition, don't you? Do your business, and 13 points. The main thing, we have to win that to stay in that top 8, because it's getting really competitive now, and there's a chance of even Real Madrid and PSG going over, which is crazy, but it's a great competition now. I know Eamon is really enjoying it, aren't you, Eamon?
No one knows where we stand.
I'm enjoying the mayhem. I'm enjoying the mayhem, but look, I mean, we Monaco, great start. I don't think their last result was that great. But they're a good solid team in the competition.
Yeah.
But again, it depends on who we have out and what we can do. Yeah. And I'm going to the game myself, so look. Yeah.
Be another cracking night under the lights in the Champions League at the Emirates, always is. Yeah.
I just want to make this point before we finish, right? Just shows you how much our expectations come on. That we're playing the Champions League game. We crave Champions League football for 7 years. And we're kind of saying, well, look, it's Monaco and it's Champions League. It's not as important as the other stuff and all that. It just shows you.
Yeah. Yeah. Our final 2 games after that, it's Dynamo Zagreb and Girona, so you'd expect us to get.
Can you say the Dynamo Zagreb name in Croatian? The Kazavridni. No, because sometimes it comes up as FC.
You just
sounds like Richie White after a few points.
Richie, are you listening? You had a cracking.
Yeah.
He's our biggest listener and Evertonian, so that says it all. Just briefly, our next 4 games in the Premier League, just to throw it out there: Everton, of course, Saturday at 3 p.m. Crystal Palace away, Ipswich, and then Brentford as well away, which is going to be a really tough game because they've had some really. I think they're top of the table in terms of home form. Brentford, and they're starting to score the goals as well. Minus Ivan Toney, kind of surprised me a lot. Would you like anything else mentioned about the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club, lads, before we wrap up the show?
No, not really. Only that anybody who applies for tickets, through the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club, could they please bear in mind, we don't let them down. We do our best, but we don't do it as a full-time job. And I refer to Sandra here now. Some people kind of expecting that, you haven't been in contact 5 days before the game. Well, it'll get done. Everybody just calm down. If you're getting a ticket, you're getting a ticket. We know how to do it. Some people have full-time jobs as well, and so just to bear that in mind,
And I have to say, hand on heart, any time that I've asked for tickets, it's always been.
But it's not only that; it's the processing of tickets and all that type of stuff. Everybody be patient. We'll get there on time, okay?
I'm hoping to get a home ticket for every game now till the end of the season. So there you go. It's more.
I won't get you a home ticket, but I'll get you a ticket home.
I can't ask for any more than that. As always, Eamon is on his last P45, I think it is. No, it's been a good show, lads. Really enjoyable. Plenty discussed on that one, and we'll be back for another one on Thursday when we review the AS Monaco game as well from Wednesday evening. I'd just like to thank John Mealy for coming on tonight, pal. Thanks very much. And Andy as well. As always, weekly guests. Catch our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel and on Spotify. But until the next show, have a great week, lads, and we'll talk to you then.
So look, lads. Bye.